time for the best coverage of the top stories in sports. The Sports Wrap with Jason Page starts now.
Absolutely, and great to have you with us on this Wednesday edition of the show. We got a lot to do over the next 60 minutes, including a conversation with Ryan Ballengee of Golf News Net, preview the Ryder Cup with him. U.S. is favored. Should they be? We'll talk about it. Dale Scott, former big league umpire, does a great job with MLB Network and Apple TV on their MLB broadcasts. We'll get some thoughts with him as MLB announces and makes official what we all thought was going to happen, and that is automatic ball strike system or automated ball strike system coming in 2026, the challenge system. We'll get into it with him on what all of that means going forward as well. But we start things out in the NFL. Sam Yarnell is here. Big news in the NFL. We're already starting to see it. Just took a few weeks, but quarterback changes are upon us, Sam. We'll get to the Mike Evans news, which is not good news for the Buccaneers, but start with the Giants, who are reportedly going to make it official. They are breaking up with Russell Wilson. He's not going to be starting anymore. That's essentially what it means. Jaxson Dart to get the start in Week 4. And look, I mean, it's the right move. And frankly, it would have been the right move a week ago if I were this team. It would have been the right move if they have done it in Week 1. It would have been the right move if they have never brought in Russell Wilson, quite frankly. But that's what they've decided to do. I'm curious to see what it means. You know, there's still a trade deadline out there. You still have Jameis Winston. I wonder if there's other dominoes to fall when it comes to the Giants. And if Jaxson Dart moving in and becoming the starter is just one of those, Sam.
I don't know what other one. Like, this is a Giants team that's incredibly young. It seems like this was kind of the last one that needed to fall, right? This is a team that now is finally embracing their youth. So a couple of things, right? Like, this obviously is something that Daboll has been toying with all season. Reading it from the outside, pretty clear and obvious that the Mara guy, the guy who owns the team, probably had an under-the-table agreement with Russell Wilson, much like Mike Tomlin did in Pittsburgh last year, that said, yeah, listen, starting jobs all yours if we're going to sign you to this contract, all yours until you lose it. And Russell Wilson came out and lost it with incredible intent. It was like he was trying to throw some of those interceptions. So yeah, they make the right decision. They finally go to Jaxson Dart. Brian Daboll showing you a little bit that he's kind of desperate to keep this job, right? You don't go to Jaxson Dart this early in the season if you're not desperate to keep this job. You go to Jameis Winston before you go to Jaxson Dart. So yeah, it's a very telling move for the New York Giants organization, a team that I was pretty high on coming into the season.
Yes,
I told you, I think they could win 6, maybe even 7 games if they run into it, right? Yeah. I still think it's the case. I give him a better shot with Jaxson Dart. He is a guy who has shown you throughout, quite frankly, throughout his entire football career, but namely over the course of the last 2 weeks, that he's willing to do what it takes to win, and that is what this New York Giants team needs right now.
Yeah, I'm anxious to see what it means too, though, for this team, because you know the old saying, when you're a head coach on the hot seat and you go and draft a quarterback like Jaxson Dart, you're not drafting him for you, you're drafting him for whoever the next head coach / general manager is, and that's likely the scenario here. I think Daboll and Shane are probably out of a job at the end of this season as they sort of turn the page and figure out what's going to work best with Jaxson Dart, unless they go on some miracle run here and things start to click, which always could happen, Sam. But interesting to see what the Giants look like with Jaxson Dart and if it galvanizes this team any. Mike Evans going to miss, it sounds like 3 to 4 weeks with a hamstring injury for the Buccaneers, who are off to this 3-0 start all over the NFC South right now, which is not a surprise to anybody who pays attention to this show, because we kind of were high on the Bucs, obviously, to win that division. And the if not, then who was Atlanta, and we've kind of seen what's happened there. By the way, one other Giants note, Younghoe Koo is now on their practice squad. Hey, they might actually have a kicker in Week 4. 2 years in a row, the Giants have gone into a football game and not had a viable kicking situation in an NFL game, which is amazing unto itself. And another reason why Joe Shane should be out of a job. So Mike Evans out. Big matchup with the Eagles. Obviously a huge impact on this team, Sam, with no Mike Evans in week 4.
Yeah, but, they're getting Chris Godwin back this week, right? So as much as you're losing
what are you
going to
get, though? It's his first game back. I mean, is the snap count going to be limited? You can never say that a future Hall of Famer not being on the field for you is a good thing.
No, of course not. But this is a Buccaneers team that is equipped to deal with this maybe better than any other team in the NFL. They've also got, by the way, the best rookie wide receiver in the league, who I think come the end of the year is going to contend for Offensive Rookie of the Year. I know Tyler Warren is way up there right now and really killing it in Indianapolis, but Emeka Egbuka, I know some people saw this coming. I think the majority of us did not see this coming in this offense with all of these weapons that he was going to have to potentially share targets with. Emeka Egbuka looks like a number 1 wide receiver in the NFL, and I'll tell you what, if that is the turnover rate that we're going to get out of this Buccaneers organization, if they're going to be able to say, the career of Hall of Famer Mike Evans, hands down Hall of Famer, and argument to be made that he is a Hall of Famer too, Chris Godwin, they're both winding down. So what are we going to do? Yeah, let's take a shot on a wide receiver. Oh, turns out it worked out incredibly well. This guy might be as good as Mike Evans was when we drafted him out of Texas A&M. I am beyond impressed with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers as an organization and their ability to manage talent and mitigate these kinds of injuries. So I'm not at all concerned. We've seen through the first 4 weeks of the season what they could do with a star wide receiver hurt. Now it's just a different star wide receiver hurt for the next 4 weeks. I have confidence in Tampa Bay.
Eagles -3.5, the line right now as of Wednesday morning in Tampa. If you're watching over on FanDuel, if you're looking over on FanDuel, the Bucs getting 3.5, 44.5 the total. Your early thoughts?
It's got to be the Buccaneers, right? And it's off the principle that they only play close games. I think every single Buccaneers game this year has been decided by 3 points or less. It's definitely 4 points.
Well, they've only won by a total of 6, so probably. Right, so they've literally. Their point differential is 6, and they're 3-0.
Yeah, this is. Give me the points in any Tampa Bay Buccaneers game. Even if I'm betting against them, if it's a point spread that big, right, 3.5, I'll take it with the Bucs.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you on that, but every time if you keep sort of downplaying what the Eagles are doing, you're doing it at your own risk right now, Sam. That's kind of the way I feel about it. All right, we got more to do. Some baseball to talk about. Teams clinching and more. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to the show. Coming up in 10 minutes, Dale Scott, former Major League Baseball umpire, author, MLB rules analyst for MLB Network and Apple TV on their broadcasts as well, and friend of the program. Get some thoughts with him on the new ABS challenge system that is being implemented in 2026 with Major League Baseball making that official yesterday, Sam. And before we get into the games, because I know I'm doing the interview solo with him because it's just one segment, Sam, but a quick opportunity for you to opine on the fact that we're going to finally get what had been rumored, the 2 challenges for each team. I like it. I think it's a happy compromise for now before what we all know will happen eventually, which is permanently having an ABS type system for balls and strikes, which I don't think is that far off. Because I think they're going to find how many times umpires do get it wrong. And I think that's going to hasten the speed with which we eventually see this throughout baseball for every ball and strike. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, I don't think it'll ever be at the point where it's doing every ball and strike. They tried that already. It very clearly and obviously didn't work to the point where you had umpires complaining about it by the All-Star break. So it's a step in the wrong direction. Luckily, it's a small step in the wrong direction. Hopefully, undoubtedly they will, but hopefully they won't take the giant leap in the wrong direction. That's kind of it. Another letdown from Rob Manfred's office.
Yeah, I disagree. See, I want calls to be correct. I don't want pitches at Aaron Judge's ankles being called a strike all the time. I can't have it. But we'll talk about with Dale Scott. I think I have a feeling I know where he stands on it as well, but we'll get to that. All right, last night, Yankees clinch a playoff spot. I did not know that this was the 60th time they had clinched a postseason appearance. I mean, that is, no matter what you think of the Yankees and this idea that, well, they should because they always have a high payroll and they're the Yankees and blah, blah, blah. 60 times, and the next closest team in the history of baseball is like 20 behind them in terms of postseason appearances. It's a remarkable number. Yankees are in the playoffs. They come from behind to do it. They win despite more bad managing from Aaron Boone in this game. But the Yankees are in the playoffs, Sam.
Yeah, in a game they didn't deserve to win.
No, they did not.
And
I agree.
The 60th playoff berth is so, and every New York media outlet and their sister this morning is perpetuating, oh, the Yankees make the playoffs for the 60th. 47 of those times, there were 20 or fewer teams in Major League Baseball. I don't want to hear about, oh, the Yankees made the playoffs for the 60th. Yeah, sure, they've been around longer than everybody. Yankees fans, man, you can't. And this game last night. Less
teams made the playoffs when there were 20 teams as well. We do need to say.
Regardless, the talent pool was miles smaller than it currently is.
It's all relative.
And different conversation for a different day. But anyway, this ninth inning, I don't know what happened to the Chicago White Sox in the ninth inning where I do know what happened actually. Hal Steinbrenner must have walked down to the visiting team's clubhouse in the middle of the ninth inning and said, hey guys, here's a vacuum sealed bag of $2 million in cash. Now go out and throw this game like nobody's business. Because I'll tell you what, I watched Michael A. Taylor play baseball, regretfully, for a very, very, very long time. Michael A. Taylor is a horrible hitter. The only reason that Michael A. Taylor is left in the major leagues is because of his defense. And then on the play that ends up walking the game off for the Yankees, he just so happens to start jogging in on a fly ball. I mean, come on. Sam, he couldn't
let it get by him. It would have been extra base. I'm thinking the same thing watching it. I'm like, oh, my God. I do love the Caballero signing, though. The Yankees have the league leader in stolen bases. The speed matters. Anthony Volpe got an injection recently. He's hit the ball better since then. We'll see what it means. We'll see what it means. Sam, look, I mean, you've got to be looking for signs, when you get to this time of the year and who's going to get hot. Your Mets, that if you keep predicting their collapse, they get up off the mat last night, down 6-1 to the Cubbies, and come from behind and get a miraculous 9-7 win, combined with an awful Reds loss. Come on, Cincinnati. And now you got to face Paul Skeens today, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Good luck, Cincinnati. You just threw away your chances to win the wild card spot.
Whoa, that's a jump.
No, it's not.
So
get a hit with a runner in scoring position, for crying out loud.
Crazy night for the teams that were in this NL wildcard spot, because you mentioned the Mets. I mean, how about the San Francisco Giants absolutely blowing it late to the St. Louis Cardinals too? Ugh. The NL playoff picture's a mess. And are the Mets going to make the playoffs? Probably not. Let's be honest with ourselves. Again, am I going to trust the New York Mets? Because
nobody else is.
I'm not going to trust them to play competent baseball for 5 straight games at the end of September. Again, oil and water, they don't go together. I'd be, the Giants knocked themselves out of it yesterday. Yep. Here come the St. Louis Cardinals, man. I tried to tell people in St. Louis this a couple of weeks ago. Here come the St. Louis Cardinals.
They're 4 back with 4 to play. It's not happening. It's the Reds or the Diamondbacks right now. And I mean, if you want to maybe believe in the Diamondbacks, have at it. That's up to you if you feel like going that route. Congratulations to the Mariners. They clinch a playoff spot. They're on the verge of clinching the AL West, Sam. And I'll tell you, of all the teams in the American League, they could be the fly in the ointment. With that rotation, the way they've come on here towards the end of the year, watch out for Seattle right now, Sam.
Yeah, I mean, pitching will always get you pretty far in the postseason, Jason. And I mean, it's as simple as we were talking about this rotation being a historically possibly good one before the season even started. Now, it has been quite the roller coaster of the season for the Seattle Mariners, even off the field, right? Talking about the injuries that pitching staff has kind of had to deal with throughout the entirety of the season. But, you're exactly right. They're playing good baseball when it matters most. And right now, I wouldn't be surprised to see them and the Guardians in the ALCS.
Well, I'll tell you this, too. The Guardians, just continue this amazing run. And now they have surpassed the Tigers after Tariq Skubal last night wasn't able to get it done. He didn't pitch terrible, but the Guardians just keep finding ways to win games. They've won 9 of 10. The Tigers have lost 9 of 10. Hey, that's how you erase a big lead in a division heading down the stretch. Going to be a fun final week of the season. David Aardsma on the show tomorrow to discuss all the baseball you can handle. Dale Scott talks ABS next. This Wednesday edition of the show continues. Coming up in 10 minutes, Ryan Ballengee, Golf News Net, to break down the Ryder Cup. Opening ceremonies today. They start playing on Friday. Part of a great sports weekend between the NFL and Ryder Cup and baseball pennant races. There was big news from baseball related to stuff not happening this year, but happening next year. And that is the announcement we all, I think, knew was coming. And that was the decision by Major League Baseball to add a challenge system for balls and strikes beginning in 2026. They obviously messed around with this in the minor leagues. We saw it during the All-Star game. Now next year you'll have it in full force with 2 challenges per side. And you get to keep your challenge if you're correct, which could lead to a lot of them because hitters tend to know, good hitters tend to know, sort of where the strike zone is a lot of times. So I'm curious to see how many of these we see per game because I think it might be more than just a couple. We bring in Dale Scott, former big league umpire, author. The Ump is Out. The Umpire is out. He's got a book. You can check that out. And you can also catch him over on MLB Network and Apple TV on the baseball broadcasts throughout the season when it comes to anything rules related. You couldn't have been surprised when you saw this news, Dale.
No, I was not surprised. And as a matter of fact, a few months ago, I thought there might have been a possibility that they would implement this like the month of September and into the playoffs this year. I think, and I could be wrong, but I think per their working agreement with the Players Association, MLB could have done that, but obviously they decided, and I had heard rumors that maybe that was going to happen, but obviously they haven't done that, and it'll start next year. But no, it's not a surprise at all. This has been building up. Started in the minor leagues, I believe, in 2022. Yeah. Since they've been doing this. So,
do you think?
And by the way, just one more thing on the challenges. I read yesterday that there's also something added to that when they go into extra innings. If the teams don't have challenges, they get 1 per extra inning.
Okay.
Which makes sense because you would hate to have with all this technology and then suddenly a questionable pitch in the 11th inning and you can't challenge.
I've got two key questions. The first one I mentioned at the top, and that is, I think there's going to be a lot of these. And I know they said it takes 10 seconds, even less than that, to figure out if it's a ball or a strike. They're able to put it up on the screen fast. I think there's going to be a lot of these because I think hitters and especially catchers kind of know where the zone is. And they're going to be able to signal to, pitchers and say, hey, you should be challenging this. I have a feeling we're going to see a lot of these in a game because I think teams are going to retain them after finding out they're right.
Well, that may be true, and I agree that I think of the 3 that can make a challenge, the worst is a pitcher. I've worked pitchers where if it left his hand, it was a strike, and apparently I didn't get that memo. But I think catchers are probably the most accurate of the catcher and the hitter. But good hitters, they have a pretty good idea where the zone is. But as far as seeing a lot of them, Jason, that may be true. But when let's say you lose one of your challenges early, you're going to want to keep on to that, keep that one challenge. There's a lot of strategy now. It's kind of like challenging replay or challenging a play
NBA.
Going to replay.
See it in the NBA a lot.
Exactly, because you're going to have to figure out, it'd be terrible for a manager and for a team in a crucial pitch in the ninth inning and you don't have any challenges because you maybe wasted them or, something. It is going to be interesting though, because you're going to have a lot of discipline. When I worked, there were some hitters that I swear if they didn't swing, it was a ball, and they would challenge in a heartbeat. And they're going to have to instill some discipline in these players to make sure that they don't just out of frustration or out of thinking very optimistically. I can't even say that this morning. They'll be using their challenges too early, and that's that kind of defeats the purpose. So it's an interesting strategy thing, as well as obviously a very big change in baseball.
My second question is this: how quickly does this lead us down the slippery slope of everything being called by ABS eventually?
Well, never say never, but I think we're a ways away from that. I'm not saying it will never happen, but obviously you still need umpires. I mean, you have all kinds of things that need to be done on the field that umpires do, and even if every play was called by a eye in the sky.
But I'm just saying balls and strikes. I'm just talking on the balls and strikes issue. That this leads us down the slippery slope of they're going to find that a number of these umpires are getting it wrong, and they're going to say this is our rationale now for instituting this 5-10 years from now on every pitch.
Well, if you're just talking about pitches, I don't. The players overwhelmingly wanted the challenge system, and not because they ran in AAA last couple of years. Let's say a team's in town for 4 games. 2 games would be completely ABS. Everything is called ABS, and then 2 games would be with the challenge system. So the players, managers, everybody got an idea of how each way ran, and they overwhelmingly wanted the challenge system. And just as a side note, as an umpire, I can't imagine as a plate umpire having to, go down on every pitch, concentrate and focus every pitch, never calling it, but having to be ready to call it if the system bleeped or something during the pitch, and now the little earpiece says it's yours. So that just seems inhumane to an umpire. I mean, for me, because the focus and concentration it takes to call Major League Baseball and call pitches, and if you're doing that every pitch in a pure pure ABS game, but that one time that and it'd be very rare that there's a glitch and all of a sudden they say it's yours. It just I don't think that's fair to the umpire. I like the fact that they went with the challenge system. I think that makes sense. It does add, like we just talked about, a little strategy to it. And they may tweak the challenge. They may figure out that, maybe we need 3 a game, or whatever the situation is. So that's something that could be changed. But to answer your question, I'm not saying it's impossible, but right at this point, I don't think that's where they're trying to go. I think they're going to let this challenge system go a few seasons, see how it goes, and reevaluate there.
I am anxious to see it. It's something that I think is needed. I think there are just too many instances in big spots. And how, the strategy of it, I am fascinated to see as well, because it does add another layer of strategy for managers and hitters and catchers and pitchers. It's going to be fun to see. Dale Scott, former big league umpire. The Umpire Is Out is his book. You can go get it wherever you get your favorite books. Dale, I appreciate it, my man. We'll talk soon.
Thanks, Jason. Go Ducks.
All right, we continue on this Wednesday edition of Sports Wrap. Ryder Cup getting started on Friday, opening ceremonies on Wednesday. The U.S. is favored. We were discussing that on the show yesterday briefly, which was kind of interesting. It's on their home turf, so maybe that has something to do with it. I want to bring in our friend Ryan Ballengee, Golf News Net, who hangs out with us on the show. and get his thoughts as we finally get ready. This interminable wait to the next big thing in the world of golf this season, Ryan, is this Ryder Cup. Do you agree with Paul Azinger when he says that the U.S. mitigated some of its sort of home turf advantage by having this at Bethpage Black?
No. I mean, I think this is a great home course advantage. I think that there's a tremendous, the turnout, just that you could see in pictures, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, has been amazing. I mean, better than a major championship, almost like a major championship round that counts. I think that the attendance on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday is going to be tremendous. I know that Donald Trump will be there on Friday.
Oh, boy.
They have advised, the PGA of America has, to get there super early because the security measures will be in place that will take you longer to get onto the golf course. So, if anything, a concern would be that the first tee Friday morning will not be quite as raucous as it otherwise could be because people could be going through TSA-style security. But other than that, I think the support is going to be tremendous. If anything, the $750 tickets, the increased value of tickets, the kind of exploitation of the value of the Ryder Cup for the PGA of America to make as much money off of this as they possibly can, that may bring a different kind of fan, an American fan, but a different kind of fan to the Ryder Cup and maybe muzzle some of the crowd noise a little bit. But I still think a lot of beers will flow, and that will take care of that problem.
Who has the most pressure on them on the American side?
It's got to be Scotty Scheffler, right? I mean, he's by far the best player in the world. He's by far the best American player. It's not even close. He's going to play, you would assume, 4 sessions. And if he's playing okay, he's playing all 5. I don't think Keegan Bradley's going to try to go out of his way to rest a player who's playing well. So if he gets out of the gates well, he's just going to keep sending him out there, I think. At worst, send him out twice on Friday, let him off once on Saturday, and he's going out on Sunday, obviously has to. So I think it's on Scheffler because this is really the first time where he is by far the best player in the world. There's no discussion about it. He's on a trajectory to be an all-time great. He can do something that Tiger Woods never really managed to do in the Ryder Cup, which is dominate. And that kind of puts all the pressure on him, I think.
Are you surprised the U.S. is favored?
No. I mean, if you look at the last 10 years of this thing, it's not even close for the road side. It's not even particularly close. And to be honest, 2012 was a statistical anomaly. So you could probably even go back further than that. 2010 really being genuinely close. 2012 should have been a blowout as a 4-point deficit going into Sunday. Everything since has not been anywhere near competitive. And I think that carries over here. The setup favors the Americans. This golf course is playing shorter than it did for the 2019 PGA Championship, meaning that the point is to get wedges and short irons in the Americans' hands, which is what they are better at than the Europeans compared to Marco Simone in Italy, where they set it up so that the Americans would have mid irons and long irons in their hands, which they are not as good at as the Europeans. So I think everything just kind of lines up, recent history, setup preferences to favor the Americans, even if that experience factor isn't there.
Am I crazy though when I stack these two lineups? When I stack these two teams side by side, that after Scheffler, DeChambeau, just looking at the way a lot of these guys were playing coming into this thing, that it feels like if there's a year to like the road team, it's this year.
I mean, I could buy it. I mean, if I were going to bet on this thing, I would bet on the Europeans because they are the better value. Not only are they plus money, but they return 11 of the 12 people that won this time last 2 years ago, right? Different situation, home turf, friendly crowd, all that type of stuff that works to your advantage. But they have 11 of the 12 same guys, and the 12th guy has the same last name. It's just a different Højgaard brother. So, I mean, a lot of the same team chemistry, all that stuff should work in their favor.
Does the real Rory show up?
Well, I think he will. I think he really relishes this kind of stuff. I mean, I think about 2016 at Hazeltine when he lined up with Patrick Reed and had one of the best singles matches. Well, at least the first 12 holes of a single match that I've ever seen in match play, given the circumstances. I think he will relish the situation. He wants to win on the road, being the leader and being the man. And that's probably the last thing he has left to check off in his career is to win a Road Ryder Cup as the number one guy. And I think that's what he's going to try to do his best here this week. And there are other motivations for other players. You got John Rahm, who has largely been forgotten about since going to Live Golf. You've got Tyrrell Hatton, who is a much better player, frankly, since going to Live Golf in many ways than he ever was when he played regularly on the DP World Tour. And then you've got kind of this myriad group of guys with a bunch of different experience that are at different stages of their career. Justin Rose has just been a thorn in the American side forever in the Ryder Cup. This is probably his last dance as a Ryder Cup player. He's going to relish in that. I think that the Europeans have a lot to offer here, except they don't have a power game that really tends to work well at Bethpage Black if you look at who succeeded here in the three majors played there.
All right, final 20 seconds. Who's lifting the trophy on Sunday?
I think it's the Americans. I think it's something like 16-12, 15-13. I think it'll be close. I think we end the skid of total blowouts here just because the European experience does pay off and they are very well prepared for this. But in the end of the day, the American power in the home field advantage that they have playing at Bethpage Black, I think is just enough to get them over the threshold.
It is part of an epic sports weekend with baseball pennant races winding down, the NFL, the Ryder Cup as well. Thank you, Ryan. We'll talk soon. Odds and Ends wraps it up in 10 minutes with some thoughts on Mike Gundy. He's a man. He's 40. Well, now he's probably a little more than 40. And he's out of a job. We'll get to that. Some great finishes in the WNBA last night as well, as the playoffs continue to cook. It has not been a lack of entertainment from the WNBA playoffs, that's for sure. So Sam Yarnell on this week 4 of the NFL season. It's a Wednesday on the show. And that can only mean one thing, ladies and gentlemen. Time for the Panic Meter, the SportsWrap Week 4 NFL Panic Meter. And over the first few weeks when we've done the Panic Meter, come on, there we go. Over the first 4 weeks when we've done the Panic Meter here on the show, Sam, we've focused on teams. Today, I want to focus on the Panic Meter for a couple of quarterbacks in the league. My first quarterback for your consideration, Sam Yarnell. From the Houston Texans, it's C.J. Stroud. On the Panic Meter, on a scale of 1 to 10, where are we on C.J. Stroud?
11? 12?
Wow.
13? I think that the general consensus around C.J. Stroud is like, yeah, oops, bust.
Oh, no. We use the B word already?
I mean, it seemed like last year could be like a fluke if he came back this year and looked any good, and through the first 3 weeks, he really, really, really hasn't. That's not to say that it's like a panic in the way that the Texans need to trade him away, get whatever they can, and rebuild immediately. I don't think that's the case, but I don't think he is anywhere near what they cracked him up to be, right? He is not a franchise quarterback. Maybe
you
an
loved
NFL
this
starter
guy.
short term,
You loved
but
this guy.
you can't look at CJ Stroud right now and the way he plays football and think, yeah, that's a quarterback who my team will rely on for the next 15 years.
I'll put it at a 3 because I also think it has to do with the talent around him. It's a scale of 1 to 5, man. Just because you put it at 11.
I thought it was 10.
It's
You
always
said
1 to
10.
5. It's always 1 to 5. The Panic Meter stops at 5. If you like to go to 10 or 11 because you like to be dramatic, but no, it stops at 5. So on a scale of 1 to
then my adjusted number will be 6. I was told it was a scale of 1 to 10. My adjusted number will be 6.
No. So I mean, look, he's 24th, by the way, in the latest quarterback rankings that are out there, and that might be generous when you talk about some of the guys that are listed ahead of him or some of the guys that are listed behind him. I said there would be regression last year with C.J. Stroud, and there was. Teams get smart in this league. Teams look at a lot of film. They have 7,400 angles to look at. They're going to find holes. They're going to find your weaknesses. When you're talking about what you don't do well. And one of the things about CJ Stroud in that first year that I noticed, and I said it throughout the entire season, making a lot of these wild plays and sort of these schoolyard football type plays, was you can get away with doing that for a year when nobody knows who you are in terms of the NFL landscape. I'm not saying in terms of what he did in college, but what he was doing in the NFL scheme of things. And eventually teams get smart. They also have suffered some injuries. Last year on the receiving side, Nico Collins is obviously back, and probably the only thing that's saving this team from being a heck of a lot worse. And that defense is obviously very good, as we discussed earlier in the week. But CJ Stroud has to play better. And he's got to lead with confidence. This is a guy that looks like he's lost his mojo right now. And I think that's a big part of this as well. His body language, other guys on this team are going to feed off of that. And I think that's a big part of the problem as well. But I'll put it at a 3 out of 5 right now because there is still some time left in the season. And we'll see what happens with CJ Stroud. I'm not ready to use the bust word just yet. Sam, on the panic meter of 1 to 5, Sam Yarnell, give me a panic meter on Bo Nix.
This is one that I kind of went back and forth on because it does feel like there is something there, but I'm going to be at like a 4. I'm going to be at maybe a 3 on a good day, but today's not a good day, so we'll be at a 4. Bo Nix has not looked good. I don't know what this perpetuation is that, Bo Nix is the potential best starting quarterback of his class now, especially because, for a second, Jaden Daniels didn't look good. I got news for you, people. Bo Nix has looked a lot worse than Jaden Daniels so far throughout his career. It's at the point where, I don't think that they will do anything, but that is not because of who Bo Nix is, right? I think that the complacency that you will see out of the Broncos organization is rooted in the fact that Sean Payton knows that his career and quite frankly his legacy is pretty much defined by how Bo Nix does. Sean Payton, right, the coach that was traded for actual draft capital, and then came in and said he was going to fix Denver, drafted this quarterback, took him to the playoffs in the first year.
Maybe his Broncos legacy. I don't think his overall legacy.
I think he's going to tarnish a lot of what he did with Drew Brees, especially when you're coming off back-to-back losses against the Colts and Chargers. I don't know. Their one win of the season is a home win against rookie Cam Ward in his first game. I'm worried about Bo Nix. He has not looked the same on the field. The interceptions are piling up. He's not looking great, Jason.
I'll put it at a 3. And I know I'm Mr. Number 3. I'm playing it in the middle. I'm sitting on the fence. There is still time, obviously, for him to sort of get things figured out. But look, he is 25th of 32 quarterbacks right now with a 41.8 QBR. I mean, it's hard to defend that. Can only go up. That's the good news. Odds and ends next. All right, just about time to put the wraps on this baby for a Wednesday. Before we go, a couple of reminders. If you have not done so yet, make sure to subscribe to the Sports Wrap with Jason Page podcast. It's available on all your favorite podcasting platforms: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube Podcasts, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, Odyssey, Amazon. Anywhere you get a podcast, you can listen to this show Monday through Friday, 45 minutes of it commercial-free. It is a fantastic way to consume the show, I promise you. You could do it while you're on the treadmill, good 45-minute treadmill run. There you go. Planes, trains, automobiles, wherever you want to listen, we welcome you doing so. Please subscribe. It helps us as well. Also, if you have not done so yet, make sure to subscribe to the Sports Wrap with Jason Page YouTube channel. You can watch this show Monday through Friday, available on YouTube. Again, commercial-free. You also get Sports Wrap Shorts. In fact, if you go over to Instagram, TikTok, also on YouTube, we have Sports Wrap Shorts available for you there Monday through Friday. Anything that breaks outside of our ability to get it into the show, we have these Sports Wrap Shorts, quick hitters, quick comments on the top stories of the day. So go and check that out as well. We welcome you to do so. And without any further delay on this Wednesday edition of Sports Wrap, time for some odds and ends. Odds and ends. Mike Gundy. Oh, look at that hair. Can we just stop? Let's just all stop for a second. And mourn the fact that we're not going to get to look at that hair, at least not for the rest of this season. Mike Gundy is out as the head coach at Oklahoma State. I mean, look, I don't know how much of a shock this probably winds up being for some people, considering what has gone on with this program. They're 1-2 this year. They lost to Tulsa on Friday. So Mike Gundy is out. That announcement came late on Tuesday morning. He's 58 years old. He's going to get a full sum $15 million. Before you feel bad for Mike Gundy, he's going to get a $15 million buyout that's outlined in his contract, which was supposed to run through the 2028 season. So we're not crying for him that much. Plus, he's a man. He's 40. 3-9 finish in 2024. So, I mean, you could kind of see the writing was on the wall here for Mike Gundy, and when you lose to Tulsa, kind of doesn't help your cause. Mike Gundy's 58, by the way. Tells you how long ago. I'm a man. I'm 40. Tells you how long ago that was. He's now 58 years old. Best of luck to Ohio State in their future endeavors. All right, odds and ends. What a night in the W. The WNBA playoffs continue to not disappoint at all. You had the Mercury last night with a historic comeback, down 20. They tie the biggest comeback in WNBA history to even the series up at one game apiece with the Minnesota Lynx. The final score was 89-83 in overtime. Phoenix gets the win on the road. And again, even that series at one game apiece. Phoenix was down 48-32 at the half. And it looked like Minnesota was well on their way. It's the first loss of this postseason for the Minnesota Lynx. I still like them to win the series. And frankly, right now, how you don't like them to win the whole thing, considering sort of where we are with New York out, how you still don't like the Phoenix Mercury to win, or rather the Minnesota Lynx to win the whole thing is beyond me. As a matter of fact, right now you can get the Lynx at -150 over on FanDuel to win the WNBA championship. The Las Vegas Aces have the next best odds. We'll get to them in a moment at +230. The Phoenix Mercury at +650, and the Indiana Fever a robust 30-1 to win everything. But hats off to the Mercury. They come from 20 down to get the win in Minnesota last night. Odds and ends, how about the win for the Las Vegas Aces after dropping game one to the Indiana Fever? A'ja Wilson, who, by the way, a bad job by us. I gotta take a hit here. We didn't even mention A'ja Wilson wins another MVP in the WNBA. Congratulations to the Las Vegas Aces and their star A'ja Wilson on another MVP. And the Aces get the win last night in Las Vegas to even up that conference semifinal series, or I should say the WNBA semifinal series at one game apiece. So a win last night for the Las Vegas Aces. The final score was 90-68. And now we'll have to see what happens as that series shifts back to Indiana. By the way, for those wondering, and I wondered this out loud on the show, whether or not Caitlin Clark could still potentially return in this postseason if the Fever were to make the WNBA Finals. She cannot. Even if they decided, hey, she's in good enough shape, we want to put her out there, it's the WNBA Finals, oh my God, they can't do it. The rosters are set before the start of the postseason. There is no scenario in which Caitlin Clark will be playing for the Indiana Fever in this postseason. I know we all wish that weren't the case, but it is. There will be no Caitlin Clark in the WNBA Finals if the Indiana Fever should make it there. All right, that's going to wrap it up for us on this Wednesday edition of the show. Don't forget, on Thursday, our friend David Ardsma drops by, does a great job with baseball, former big league reliever and closer. We'll get his thoughts on the new ABS challenge system that we talked about today with our friend Dale Scott. And who knows by tomorrow where we're going to be with some of these wild card races. Diamondbacks still in the mix, the Reds still in the mix. Still got divisions up for grabs in the American League as well. That's going to do it for us on this Wednesday. We'll see you back here on Thursday. I'm Jason Page. Thanks to Sam Yarnell, Ryan Ballengee, and Dale Scott. That's Sports Wrap. Bye.